Hey guys, Zach here, and today I'm bringing you my spoiler review of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. And of course, this video does contain spoilers, as I just said, so if you haven't seen the movie yet and you don't want to be spoiled, then click off now. But anyway, also, before I get into this, I just want to point out that if I sound weird in this video, or if I sound different, that's just because I'm a little bit sick right now. I'm not like too sick, but I just have like a sore throat, and I'm a little congested, but yeah, nothing too bad or anything like that. So, yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know in case I sounded different in this, but yeah. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into this. So, this is my spoiler review of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, but this is also, you could say, like, a part 2, because the first part was kind of like the introduction to this. So yeah, because in that video I didn't go into too much detail about the movie itself. I just went into detail about like my history with this movie and like how my thoughts went from I love this movie to this movie's okay. So yeah, this video is gonna get into more detail why. I'm not gonna go into too much detail like in terms of the story. Like I'm just gonna like bring up certain like parts of the movie in order to explain like why I like that part of the movie or why I dislike that part of the movie. So yeah. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into this. First of all, I just want to say that this movie, the way this movie started was excellent. With Rexy biting the ladder to the helicopter and then having the Mosasaurus come out of nowhere to eat the entire ladder with the guy still on it. That was really well done. I really liked that. And it's also really cool because in that scene, there was a flash of lightning that revealed Rexy's head. And that's actually a little nod to the novel, because that's how they introduced the T-Rex in the first novel by Michael Crichton. So, yeah, that's a nice little touch. And there are minor touches to the first two, or just the first movie. A little bit of the novel, but for the most part, they're just nods to the movie. Or, yeah, the first movie. But, yeah, anyway, that scene was really well done. Another thing that I really liked about this movie is that this movie, like, everything about this movie before they all get on the boat is really good. I like everything that happens on the island. Well, almost everything that happens on the island. There are some things that I don't like, but we'll talk about that later. First, I want to talk about the things I liked, and then the things I dislike, and then the things that surprised me in this review. But, yeah, the things I liked, I liked the scene with the baryonyx, like in the room with the lava flowing down from the ceiling. That was really well done. Very, very thrilling. It's also really cool that the Carnotaurus is in this movie. I have always wanted to see the Carnotaurus in a Jurassic Park movie since Jurassic World. I know, like alright, you gotta understand, the Carnotaurus is my favorite dinosaur in terms of, everything else. But in terms of Jurassic Park, my favorite dinosaur is the T-Rex. But the thing, the reason why I bring that up is because, I loved the Carnotaurus' depiction in the novel, the second novel by Michael Crichton, where it was basically like a giant chameleon. It would blend into its surroundings, and then it would, ambush its prey. And I really liked that. I thought that was really clever. And it's kind of a shame that the Carnos in this movie don't do that. That's one thing I don't like, but this is just a theory, but maybe, just like there are different tribes of raptors, there's the Nublar breed and the Sorna breed, my theory is that there are different tribes of Carnos, and one of those tribes would be, the camouflaging ability. Again, that's a little bit far-fetched, but hey, I just really want to see that scene from the second novel brought to the big screen, so yeah. That's one thing I really liked. The characters, I didn't like a lot of the characters. There were characters I liked. Benjamin Lockwood, I really liked. He tried to be like John Hammond, and he won't be John Hammond, or he was never as close to being like as likable as John Hammond, but he's still good enough to where, okay, it's acceptable. Maisie, I really liked her character, but there's something later on in the movie that I really didn't like, and well, again, we'll talk about that when we get to the things I didn't like. But she was a good character. She's not my favorite kid character in the franchise, not by a long shot, but again, she's not bad. I'm just trying to think. Owen, Chris Pratt's character, he's basically the same as the first Jurassic World movie, where he was like that badass and he could get like everything done if the scene wanted him to. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of Owen in this. Like, Owen was never really one of my favorite characters. To me, he just seemed like that guy who was, you know, he was just thrown into a scene and then, okay, I know exactly how to get myself out of this. Like in Jurassic World, where the Indominus Rex breaks out, and he knows like to, you know, like cut the hose and put gasoline on him, or gas on himself, so the Indominus Rex can't smell him. He just knew to do that, even though this is an animal that's been raised in captivity and it's kind of a sociopath. But again, whatever. We're talking about Fallen Kingdom, not Jurassic World, so yeah. Claire, honestly, I liked her character. I liked her character more in the first Jurassic World, but her character still is good. She changed because before she only saw like the dinosaurs as assets and nothing more. But then at one point in Jurassic World, like after seeing the Apatosaurus die, she sees them as actual living things, and I like that. And I like how they kept that, saying like, you know, she makes the dinosaur protection group and all that, and yeah, I really like that. I'm just trying to think of other things I liked about the movie. Ooh, the soundtrack was really good. Michael, I forget his last name, but just like with Jurassic World in the PlayStation 1 Lost World game, he did a great job on this soundtrack. It's on iTunes, so if you want to give it a listen, go right ahead, because, yeah, I highly recommend you listen to it, because the soundtrack is really, really good. So, yeah, I'll be honest, it's not John Williams good, you know, but then again, nothing will ever be John Williams, but it's still very good for what it is. It's not my favorite, you know, work that he's done. My favorite would be the Lost World PlayStation 1 soundtrack, but yeah, he still did a good job here. That would, this movie soundtrack would probably be my second favorite thing that he's done. So, yeah. And in case you're curious, the Jurassic World soundtrack is my third favorite, so, yeah. Anyway, the soundtrack was really good. One scene that I really liked in this movie was the scene with the Brachiosaurus dying. Now, that was a really sad scene, and J.A. Bayona, the director, did a really good job of making that scene really emotional and really sad. Because it's, like, the way I saw it, it's like, okay, so the Brachiosaurus introduced us to Isla Nublar, and this is kind of, you know, saying goodbye, like, farewell, because, you know, it's dead now. So, yeah, I always thought that was really emotional and really well done. Also, according to J.A. Bayona, that Brachiosaurus is actually the first one that we see in the first Jurassic Park movie. The one that Ellie, Dr. Grantney, and Malcolm see in the first part of the movie, which, again, adds more to the emotional factor of, that scene. And, yeah, that was really well done. I'm just trying to think of other things that I liked about the movie. I guess I got nothing. I talked about the Carno, but yeah. I guess right there, that's pretty much it for positives for this movie, for me anyway. Now we're going to go into the things I dislike about the movie, and there are some things. One thing in particular I'm going to save to the very end, because I was actually, like, to a point where I was almost offended by that, but like I said, we'll talk about that in a second. One thing that I didn't like, this is a minor nitpick, but there wasn't too much Rexy. She wasn't in the movie too much, which wouldn't be a problem, but it just feels like after, you know, the scene on the boat where they're getting her blood, it just feels like, yeah, that's it. She's not going to appear in, like, any, like, big scenes. I mean, yeah, she was there to kill Eli Mills at the end of the movie and Roar at the Lion, but she never really had a very big scene. So, yeah, it's kind of a shame that she wasn't in the movie too much, but again, that's just a minor nitpick. One thing I don't like is the fact that they're blowing up Isla Nublar. Now, I wouldn't have a problem with that normally. The reason why I have a problem with it is because it's getting blown up because of a volcano. which doesn't make sense to me. You know, you're making a theme park for, you know, thousands of people. You know, thousands of people are going to come here, and there's just an active volcano. I mean, I guess you could say that they didn't think too much into it, but at the very least, they could have, like, you know, like, a little bit of research. Like, alright, so what's the geography like on this island? It's good. There's an active volcano, but I don't think that'd be a problem. Sounds like the perfect place for a theme park. I don't know about you, but that's a really good place for a theme park. So, yeah, that's one thing I didn't like about the movie. Dinosaurs on the mainland. That's again something I don't like about this movie. Because the fun with Jurassic Park is that it all takes place on an island. And, yeah, it worked in The Lost World because at the end of The Lost World, the T-Rex, the male Tyrannosaurus, makes it to the mainland and kind of wreaks havoc in San Diego. Which, that works in there because that scene was only 15 minutes and it wasn't the whole movie. And, yeah, it was short, but not too short. It was perfect. It looks like they're setting it up for, or they're setting up the next movie, Jurassic World 3, to have everything take place on the mainland, which, I'm sorry, I just think that's really stupid. Because, like I said, the fun of Jurassic Park is that it all takes place on an island. There's, you know, Jurassic Park in the city. If you want, like, dinosaurs in the city, watch Godzilla or King Kong, if that makes a little bit more sense. But, yeah, bottom line, keep that out of my Jurassic Park, please. Thank you. And I know that they kind of, referenced that at the end of the first novel by Michael Crichton, where it's kind of hinted at that the dinosaurs are on, or that they're in Costa Rica. Which, I mean, I guess, I don't know, but they're making it out to be that, you know, the dinosaurs, they're gonna ruin cities, they're gonna ruin everything, and, yeah. And again, they kind of alluded that in Michael Crichton's first novel, but, I don't know. I feel like in that movie, it was like the smaller dinosaurs, you know, like the Velociraptors and the Compies, and like, very small dinosaurs. Not really big dinosaurs like T-Rex and Apatosaurus. But then again, I could be wrong about that, so, yeah. Militarizing the dinosaurs, I think, is stupid. Now, there were no dinosaurs militarized in this movie, but they kind of reference that, saying, okay, so we're going to auction off these dinosaurs to people who want them in war. You know, people used animals in war before. People used elephants, they used diseased rats to make people sick, and I think that's really stupid. Not just because that this is, you know, in the Jurassic Park universe, but because we have tanks, we have rocket launchers, we have literally so many weapons that could easily kill a dinosaur, but still they think, we think dinosaurs will be very good in, you know, the war. If there's ever a World War III, the dinosaurs will save our asses, even though, you know, a lot of other countries have nukes, or, yeah, they probably have nukes, but, again, we'll win because we have dinosaurs, which, again, that doesn't make sense. Benjamin Lockwood's death. I didn't like that, or, that got me off guard. This is kind of more like the surprised part, like the thing that got me surprised in this movie. But this is still something I need to talk about. Usually when you think of Jurassic Park, you think of people getting eaten by a dinosaur, or being crushed by a dinosaur, or a dinosaur pushing a vehicle on top of someone, or, you know, the usual stuff. You would not imagine someone getting smothered with a pillow in this movie. In case you don't know, Benjamin Lockwood does get smothered with a pillow in this movie. And that caught me off guard because we've never, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think we've ever gotten a death like that in the Jurassic Park franchise on screen. I mean, it wasn't on screen. They kind of hinted at it. But the reason why I bring that up is because it's so stupid. Benjamin sees that they're bringing the dinosaurs to his estate. And instead of calling the cops, you know, himself, he calls Eli there and he says, I want you to call the police on yourself, because I think it would make sense if you explained it. What? That makes no sense at all. That's like if someone was robbing a bank and he had the person behind the, behind it all, like at gunpoint, and that person said, I want you to call the police on yourself because you are acting very, very immature. I'm sure your mother would be ashamed. It's like, that makes no sense. How about you just call the cops or do something? Don't just sit there and tell the person who's doing this to call the cops on themselves. But I digress. There are other characters I didn't like. Eli Mills, I didn't dislike his character. I just thought he was kind of bland. That typical, like, villain character. Wheatley, I didn't like he was pretty bland. Zia, I think her name is. But Zia, she was like this badass, smartass woman. And, yeah, her character was, a little annoying to me. Franklin, I thought he was very annoying. That high-pitched scream he made and the scene with the baryonyx, I thought that was really stupid. His character for me was really annoying, but again, that's just, actually no. What am I trying to say here? I didn't like his character at all. Who else was there? I'm trying to think, what other characters there were. Alright. I'm not thinking of anything off the top of my head, so I'm just gonna move on. There was one scene with the Indoraptor. First of all, my dogs are barking, so I apologize for that. The scene with the Indoraptor killing Wheatley, I didn't like that. Like, not because it was too extreme or anything like that, but I just thought it was kind of jarring. Because it starts off with, like, kind of like, humorous, where the Indoraptor... actually, before I talk about that, the Indoraptor, I'm just gonna say this, I'm not the biggest fan of the Indoraptor. My friend, when I went to go see the movie with him, he really liked the Indoraptor. He thought that was, like, the coolest thing in the franchise, but me personally, I'm not too much of a fan of the Indoraptor. To me, it's like if a xenomorph was a dinosaur, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So, yeah, I'm not going to go into too much detail about that. But anyway, Wheatley's death was, kind of jarring to me. So, it starts off in a humorous way, where the Indoraptor pretends to be unconscious, and Wheatley is trying to pull off a tooth for his necklace, and then the Indoraptor keeps taunting him, and then whenever he looked away, the Indoraptor just smirked, which I thought was a little stupid. And then the Indoraptor just came out of nowhere, like, woke up out of nowhere and just tore his arm off, which, that's going from one extreme to the next. Or, not extreme, but I think you know what I'm trying to say. That's like if let's say you showed a kid Peter Cottontail, the animated movie or whatever. Let's say you show your kid that, but then quickly after showing him Watership Down. It's kind of, jarring, going from like something that's trying to be humorous to something that's really brutal and violent. But yeah, that's just one thing. Everything that happens in the Lockwood Manor, I'm not really the biggest fan of. Again, Eli's death I thought was pretty cool, and the scene with the Stygimoloch going through the auction room, that was alright. I'm just trying to think of other things I didn't like about the movie before I talk about the really big thing. I don't think anything's coming to mind, so I'm just going to jump to that right now. So, at one point in the movie, near the end, Maisie, Claire, and Owen are running away from the Indoraptor. They escape the Indoraptor, and then they meet up with Eli. And he's upset because his little auction thing got ruined. And he's over here saying, Maisie, come here. Maisie, come here. He starts screaming now, Maisie, come here. And then she just doesn't, come to him. So he just goes, oh, okay. So you two are going to take care of her now, huh? That's what we're going to do here? Okay. Well, you don't know what she is. Her and the rest of these animals in this damn building, they are made in a lab. Benjamin Lockwood, that's not his granddaughter. That's his daughter, his clone daughter. Because he didn't, he was really upset about her death. And I thought that was really stupid. Because Jurassic Park, the first movie, I'm going by movies, I'm ignoring the novels. But Jurassic Park, we have, the moral in that movie is about, the dangers of bringing back dinosaurs today through the power of genetic engineering, as well as trying to control nature. In The Lost World, the moral was more environmental than anything. It was basically, animals don't need our help to live in the wild, so they need our absence. If we could just step aside and just let them do their things, then they'll live on, and life will find a way. But now all of a sudden, in this movie, we've got dinosaurs at war, we have Jurassic Park in the city, and we have cloned humans. Okay. Sure, whatever. And I'm not saying that everything has to have a moral. No. Nothing has to have a moral. Or things, Okay, what am I trying to say? Not everything has to have a moral. Sometimes it could just be an excuse to, just see things, happen. Which is kind of what this movie is doing. But it's still really stupid that, a movie with that much realism, or when I say that much realism, I mean the bit of seriousness, to now, okay, so we're going to try to get dinosaurs in the war, we're going to try to, have everything take place on a city, and last but not least, we're going to have cloned humans now, because why not? It's just, I'm not opposed to change in anything. I'm not, I don't have a problem with, someone trying to do something new with something. But as long as they could, do something different while keeping to, the same, while trying to be original to, alright, I don't have a problem with change. It's fine when, someone wants to do something new, but they have to try to keep true to what they're trying to change. Kind of like with the Indominus Rex, We've never gotten, a full-on hybrid in a Jurassic Park movie before. Well, technically the Spinosaurus, but that's a completely different thing. Basically, we've gotten, hybrids have been a thing since the first movie because of the frog DNA. But we've never gotten, full-on hybrids with, mixtures of other dinosaurs, like T-Rex and Velociraptor and all that. And with the sound of that, with a hybrid like that being in a film, it sounds really stupid. But the Indominus, it wasn't too out of the norm. It was, too perfect, and it knew how to get out of every situation it was in. But it doesn't look too, much of a hybrid. It doesn't look like a Stegoceratops or a Carnoraptor, or any of the hybrids that were in the mobile game. This was just something that actually looked like a dinosaur that actually could have lived. And, yeah, that's fine. Another example of change that I'm okay with, this isn't Jurassic Park related, but this is actually completely different. But Samurai Jack, that show came out in 2001, and the first 4 seasons, it was for kids, and then they canceled it, but then last year, they rebooted it, and it's now TV-14, Characters, occasionally swear, but they don't swear all the time, but, a couple of, minor curse words, there's a lot more blood, and, the reason why that's fine is because, Season 5, as different as it is, even though it's, more for, an older audience, it's still fine, because it still keeps true to the original show. Militarizing dinosaurs, having everything take place on the mainland, clone humans, that, I don't know about you, but that's not all that true to the original Jurassic Park movies. And again, you could say, oh, well, if they can clone dinosaurs, well, surely they can clone humans. Again, that's a fair point, but for me, it's still really stupid, and no matter how you put it, clone humans sound really stupid to me in a Jurassic Park movie. If it was anything else like Alien or Star Wars or anything like that, it'd be fine, but this is coming from Jurassic Park, and I think cloning humans is kind of, let's say, a little bit too much. In fact, the only reason why I think that they pulled the whole, Maisie being cloned was because what they wanted to do, it was just an excuse for them to release the dinosaurs into the wilds of America, or California, I should say, and just to set up Jurassic World 3, which has been done before, In the first Jurassic Park movie, there was a character by the name of Lex, and basically, she said once that she was a computer hacker, and she knew how to work a Unix system, and that was only there just to move the plot along, so, yeah, something like this is kind of in, it was kind of in the first Jurassic Park movie. But you gotta think about this, because, yeah, there are minor things that are to be said about Jurassic Park. Don't get me wrong, Jurassic Park is my favorite movie of all time. No movie will ever top Jurassic Park for me. But I will admit, that movie does have minor problems. That doesn't stop me from liking the movie. No, Jurassic Park is a fantastic film, and like I said in a previous video, it's a masterpiece of cinema. But, yeah, there are minor problems with it. And it was fine because, again, a 13-year-old girl knowing what a Unix system is, it wouldn't make sense that a family would have, a computer system that costs, $2,000 or $3,000 at the time. But, if you, try to think about it, it could be, you could, put as much thought into it as you can. Maybe she had, Unix systems classes. I mean, that sounds stupid, but it's something. The whole clone humans thing, just to move the plot along, is kind of... I don't know how to explain it right, because listening to myself talking about this, it doesn't sound right, but I just don't know how to explain it. So I'm just going to leave it at that before I keep rambling on too long. But, yeah. So, that was pretty much almost everything I liked and disliked about Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Is it good? No. Is it bad? No. To me, this movie is okay. It's nothing special, but, yeah. There'd be no harm in seeing this movie. Again, this movie isn't as bad as Jurassic Park 3. How I would rank the movies is like this. Number 1, of course, would be Jurassic Park. That movie's a 10 out of 10. The Lost World Jurassic Park would be second for me. That movie, I'd say it's an 8. Jurassic World would be probably a 7 or 6 to me. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, I'd say would either be a 5 or a 4.5. And then, of course, Jurassic Park 3 for me is just a 1.5. So, yeah. So, there wouldn't be any harm of seeing this movie. If you want to go see it, go right ahead. There wouldn't be any harm. But, honestly, this movie's still, if you have the choice between, this movie and the first movie, go for the first movie. Go for the first 2 movies and go for Jurassic World 2. But if you only have the choice between this movie and Jurassic Park 3, then watch, this movie. Because no matter what, like I said in a previous video, stay as far away from Jurassic Park 3 as possible. Because, I'm sorry, to me, that movie is not good whatsoever. But, yeah. Anyway, that is it for today. Have a great rest of your week, and I will see you in the next video. Peace, Zach out.